Bonjour mesdames et messieurs, in this episode I'm going to talk to you about my gear. Bonjour mesdames et messieurs, my name is Sir Germany, I am a French photographer from the beautiful city of Paris. And I'm going to try to do something a bit different than usual. I set myself a challenge where I'm going to do 30 videos in 30 days on different topics. This is video number 1. And in video number 1 I'm going to be talking about my entire gear, because I get a lot of questions about it and I thought I would show you what I'm really using. I just want to tell you that I'm 16 days away from having my first movie, The Hollywoodian, being released. 16 days. I have to get a lot of pre-orders in 16 days. You can get all the details there, but if you could take a minute and pre-order the movie and leave a comment, it would be amazing. I hope you spend a nice evening watching it and it would mean the world to me. All right, so let me talk to you about my gear. Well, this is all my gear. So I'm going to start with the old stuff and then we come to the new stuff. I'm going to start with this. This is a 4x5 camera and I have different lenses that I'm using it, wide and middle angle. And I spent months trying to use it because I wanted to get into film photography. I don't use it that much. I actually went to New Zealand with it, with big slide 4x5. And honestly, it was too hard for me to use. I mean, before you can get one good photo, it's so much work. And the quality, honestly, is not that amazing compared to what I get with the Sony A7R. But it was a fun experience. I really loved it. So now it's more like something that I use for decoration than anything else. But I love having this camera, even though I don't use it that much. Then I tried another film camera, which is much easier to use, the Mamiya 7. Beautiful camera. I got two lenses. One is like a 45, another one which is like an 80 millimeter. But it's different on the, it's a middle format camera. It works with 120 millimeters film. Much easier to use, but still the quality, I did a lot of comparison with the Sony A7R and the quality is not as good. But I really like the photos. I did a lot of shoot in Joshua National Park and I use it here and there because it's got a little vintage look. What I really use the most is this beast here. This is the Sony A7R II with an extra battery grip because the batteries are awful with Sony. They don't last very much time. So I got this battery grip where I can put two batteries. And it's probably the two batteries is not even the equivalent of what I had with Canon. So don't go to Sony for batteries because they're not good. However, dynamic range, amazing. Files, big files, 44, 46 million pixels, I forgot. But really big files. When I shift this and I started sending this to my publisher and to the gallery I work with, they really liked the RAW files or the TIFF files. It's just much more detail. So when I do big print, it's great. So that's why, plus even with this, and I put especially a big lens on the 24-40, even that, it's still smaller than the Canon 5D Mark II. It's still much lighter to what I had before. The lens that I have on, and I get a lot of questions about this lens, is a 24-240. 24-240 I find is an amazing lens because I have the 24-70, but I'm not using it anymore because this one is 24-240. And sometimes I find myself punching it at 100 millimeter. I was in Yosemite to get the top of El Capitan. I find that I use a lot 100 millimeter, as a focus lens and even more. Great portrait lens. It's not a crazy bokeh, but it's a very nice bokeh. So it's a great portrait lens also. Today, 80% of my photo I take with the 24-240. Photos are really sharp. It's a bit of a heavy lens, but I really like it. And I carry the camera with this from Peak Design, which is really cool because you have this system where you can just put the strap on in a few seconds. And I love this strap. You find it on Peak Design. You will find all the link of this on my gear page. On my gear page or in the link in this YouTube video. So this is really cool because, I carry this around. Great strap that you can, I take it out when I do long exposure because with the wind it's not good. A lot of people ask me also what tripod I use. So this is the tripod that I do 99% of my photo with. It's a Gizmo Traveler tripod. I've had the first version of this tripod for 10 years or 11 years. And after 11 years of using it in the salt and in the sea, I lost it. I threw it away because it was just, really in bad shape. So I just bought the same one because I'm in love. It's very light, very firm. I have a Real Staff BH20 head on it, and it's so light. The problem, it doesn't go very high, so sometimes I'm lacking a bit of height, but like maybe twice a year, not a big deal. I do everything with this. So talking about lens, I have a 35mm prime 2.8 from Sony, which I never use because I use a 24-240. And I'm going to actually borrow it to my kids because I really never use it. The only time that's kind of cool to use a lens like this is you want to do like street photography at night. I did this in San Francisco, like around midnight. You can go at 2.8, it's really cool. This is a 24-240, same thing. I'm not using it, it's just a backup lens because now I use a 24-240. And this is the f4 version. It's not the 2.8 G Master version, but it's still great. They all give me really sharp photos. Then I have the 16-35. Now the 16-35 is the second lens I use the most. I would say 80% now is my 24-240 and 20% is the 16-35. The reason why I also like the 24-240 is that when you go at 16, when you do landscape, sometimes it looks unreal. When you go at 24, it's closer to the human eyes or the human experience. So I like to be at 24 more than 16, but sometimes I need to be at 16, and that's when I use the 16-35. So really these two lenses, 16-35, 24-40, most of my work. I just bought this. This is an amazing lens. This is to shoot the moon. It's a 70-300. I only use it to shoot the supermoon. Beautiful lens. I also use it for portrait. You can use it for wildlife. I use it for shooting the moon, or really things which are really far away, a bit of wildlife, mostly astrophotography. What else can I show you? Oh yes, I also have the Sony A7S that I use more as like a second body for video mostly. And this is the 85mm 1.4, the best portrait lens that I have. Crazy bokeh. It's a very expensive lens, but I use it when I need to do fashion shoots, and I did a lot recently when I was in Italy. Best 85 1.4, best portrait lens I ever had. So that's something that I use and I really like. I do more and more drone photography. I just bought this. This is a Mavic Pro. I like it because it's so small. Like, when you fold it, actually let me fold it this way. Like it goes like this and like this. When you fold it, it's like you can almost put it in your pocket. You just have to have the right sequence of folding. Voila. When you fold it, look how small it is. Literally, I can put the drone in my pocket. I have a small bag that goes with it, and I'm loving this. So, it's funny. I like, to shoot with anything. I'm also shooting with the iPhone 7 Plus, which I find is, really good with using Lightroom Mobile for RAW files. Beautiful. I also have a little Polaroid that I use, which is really fun. Like old school Polaroid. I do some of that. One thing I use a lot when I do time-lapse, of course, is an intervalometer. Really cool because I also use it as just a remote. For example, if I need to do long exposure. I'm not going to show you any filters on this because now, if you look on my channel, you will see I don't use any filters with my Sony. I use a smooth reflection app, which I'm in love for. Amazing. This is something else that I use. Halo Clip. This is good. Sometimes I use for the iPhone to go wider angle. That's pretty cool also. And that's very important. When you have the Sony, they run out of battery so fast. So I've got this double charger. I always charge 2 batteries at the same time. So that's pretty much what I'm using. I have more videos on how to use the Sony, the menus. I didn't want to get into details, but that is what that's the toys I'm playing with. But what I'm really playing with the most is the 16-35, 24-240, and the 85 1.4. If you're starting into photography, I would not necessarily go the Sony route because it's an expensive route, but I'm a professional photographer. I make a living of the photos. I work with galleries. They want the best possible RAW files, the best possible resolution. That's why I have this gear. But you can start with a Canon T2i or Nikon 7000 or even the Sony A6000, A6500. All these cameras are really good today. But if you want to know what I'm doing, what I'm shooting, this is what I'm shooting with. All right, so don't forget to check out my movie, The Hollywoodans. I will be talking a lot about it, and I will see you tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to San Francisco to meet the guys at Creative Live. I'm going to do a show, and I'm going to show you some of the behind the scenes. And tomorrow I'm going to talk about something else, but that will be for tomorrow. Mesdames et messieurs, good day, and see you tomorrow.